Hi everyone and welcome to iMocha's webinar on how to leverage our AI-enabled proctoring to ensure seamless remote hiring for technical roles. I am Neha. I look after product marketing at iMocha and I'll be hosting this webinar. Most of us have adapted to the new normal of working from home. Recruitment too has shifted completely online. And with leading companies announcing their hiring plans for 2021, online assessments have gained prominence. However, the one question every recruiter and hiring managers have, that is, how authentic are the assessments? Can we rely on them? So, to answer these queries and a lot more, we have with us today Nidhi Puri, who is a product consultant at iMocha and who will be taking us through the proctoring process. And she'll also be telling us how we have helped our customers reduce technical screening time by 50%. While we have a question and answer session at the end, you can always post your questions anytime during the webinar using the Q&A section at the bottom panel. So without further delay, over to you, Nidhi.
Thanks, Neha. And welcome everybody. So today our agenda is getting to know remote proctoring in iMocha, right? So before I start, we have around 45 minutes or so, and we will leave plenty of time to go through the Q&A session at the end. So take your time till then, and let's start. The agenda today is how to ensure integrity of assessments in recruitment during these unprecedented times, the need for proctoring, the different types of proctoring we have, the kind of proctoring checks are required, and an immense pride we take in showcasing our success story. Okay. So let's get started. Well, work from home is here to stay. It has become a new normal thanks to the pandemic, and something that we thought we would enable 100% in the next 5 to 10 years, we had to switch to it right away. So, yes, work from home is here to stay definitely, and at least for the next 18 months. And from across the globe, we got stats showcasing the IT BPM industry, especially the services sector. They enabled more than 75% of their workforce to work from home within weeks of COVID impact. We have seen the workforce of about 93% working from home in China, 89% in North America, and Australia and New Zealand for about 79%, other European regions with 78, right? And India catching up to them at 77, and UK at 72. And this is for every majority of the industries like banking, healthcare, software, right? You name it. And this is happening everywhere. So we found with the work from home affecting these big industries, 59% workers, you can see in the right, for the US actually prefer to work and continue the work remotely. And since this is how it is happening, um, coming to the next question, how do we ensure integrity of assessments taken from remote location? This become a big problem. So let it be for recruitment or hiring or learning and development also, even for existing employees. Online remote proctoring is the solution, and it is being adopted at a rapid speed now. So for many companies who use pen and paper assessments before pandemic, they have now routed towards a remote online proctoring through iMocha. So let's just check out recruitment without proctoring first. Companies need to arrange in-person invigilators and the test centers, which induces a huge administrative burden and increase in cost, right? And it is especially true when you are trying to run test centers in more remote locations around the world. So companies are restricted to a small pool of candidates. It increases your recruitment time, and human error and judgments may be seen when the resources are limited. So these are some of the issues we found when there are no proctoring involved. No online proctoring, right? But with online proctoring, there are zero manual efforts involved, which eventually reduces the administrative cost and time. Organization can scale to a greater geographical reach and provide convenience to the candidates who can sit the exams in the comfort of their homes and don't have to travel at all. They also provide like accurate analysis because the repository is saved and archived, where recruiters can come back to any time and check uh, the reports in the leisure time. So these are some of the benefits we get with online proctoring. And this is also, you see, a post and pre and post pandemic. So how a lot of companies are completely shifting towards online recruitment and proctoring. So let's check out the types of proctorings in iMocha. Engage and identify legit candidates on the move. How? By real-time proctoring. Facial recognition done at the start of the assessment and then an authentication check done throughout the test. So browser patrolling is done. We restrict candidates with warning every time he or she tries to move out of the test window with real-time warnings. Copy-paste locking in case candidates try to go through the internet and copy something and they try to come back to paste it or try to copy the question and they won't be able to do so with this copy-paste locking. We also provide cheating detection flags to help make quick decisions of which reports recruiters can consider and which they can discard. So this actually helps when there is a list and pool of candidates. For video proctoring, if enabled, a full recording of audio and video is captured. IP change log is maintained if a candidate tries to switch to another computer in case he or she faces difficulty with the connectivity in the previous one. This actually also helps if a candidate tries to cheat by asking a friend to take the rest of the exam for from some other location. So we captured those IP addresses also. Timestamp for every event that occurred during the assessment is logged when the candidate was out of the window or whether any violation was detected. So all of that history and events are logged. So this is how we show real-time violation alerts, right? A pop-ups with multiple faces or unrecognized faces or no face detected. So every time this happens, a pop-up is shown. And also if a user tries to go out, the same first warning pop-up is displayed. Violation alerts are clearly mentioned at the start of each candidate report, right? Window violation, time violation for how many time he was outside the test window, how many images were violated, and all the IP addresses. A flagging system with accurate analysis helps to make right decisions. And for every face we detect and verify violations, at every interval of time it is done and the timestamp is displayed. So these are types of proctoring we have in iMocha. Okay, now let's go through a detailed report that is generated of a candidate named Ryan. So this summary report involves personal details of the candidate with quick violation alerts, right? An aggregate score and completion time with section-wise details is mentioned. If video proctoring was enabled, then a play button you can see at the top is displayed, where the recruiter can review the entire assessment journey of the candidate. And then now, since all this data is clearly displayed in a summary, we now dive deep into the proctoring details, where proctor logs at every timestamp is mentioned. The authenticate base image at the top right is used to verify all the images that do not match with the captured images and highlights those screens where unrecognized face or blurred face or multiple faces are detected, right? So this is easier when you have 5 to 10 candidate reports. Going through each and every report and getting the details for every image seems easy if there's just 5 to 10. But if the same assessment is given out for university hiring or to more than 100 or 1,000 candidates, then going through these pool of reports take up your valuable time, right? So how do we save our valuable time becomes an issue. And to answer that question, we do that with proctoring flags with exactly the intelligent proctoring. So, what does intelligent proctoring mean? So, for a list of reports, we identify the right flags. We say a violation is done, but the candidate merely got a glass of water from the sides and got back to his seat in less than 10 seconds. What happens in that case? We don't consider that as a violation, right? So, for that case, because we know that in case everything is remote nowadays, we are living at our homes with our kids playing in the background, or we have siblings and parents coming in on us, kind of photobombing our meetings and classes. So it's not feasible and easy, right, to make the assessment violation free. It happens. Also, um, making the assessment stricter with strict proctoring is not the solution. So here we give a candidate some benefit of doubt and let the flags help us to make the right decisions. So with a proctoring logic, we only flag those reports who have done 3 consecutive violations. That too, if these violations are done anytime during the test, but only in consecutive manner of 3 violations, then only we consider it as one flag. So if the flag count is in between 0 to 2 consecutive violations, right, we say that it is within tolerable limit. And if it goes between 3 to 5 consecutive MH violations, we still say that it's tolerable limit, but it's a yellow flag. So it's up to the recruiter to make a call whether the recruiter wants to go through the assessment or discard. But when a red flag is detected, right, so it's a huge indication where you know that this is beyond the tolerable limit, and it's better to neglect that red flag and not to waste time to go through the entire report. So these proctoring logic is made with a high amount of data we got over the years, and we came up with the logic. The same is not just for images, but the same is for window violations. So let's say the candidate was outside the test window for up to 10 seconds. It is still in the tolerable limits, because we know up to 5 seconds, we don't even consider the tolerable limit, because nothing can be copied or even viewed in the 5 seconds. We know that, right? So we give that benefit of doubt. If it goes up to 1 minute, it is still a tolerable limit with a yellow flag. But if it goes above 1 minute, you know that the user or the candidate here has gone out of the test window, right? Went through the internet, copied a big, huge text, and came back. So you know that this entire assessment is fabricated because there was a huge time gap here. So here, it's not just the flags that will help you, but you can also set up the termination limit or the termination setting here, where you can mention that the test should get terminated after so and so count of violations. We usually recommend 3, but it is up to the recruiter to make the call. And just in case, when there are times we got to know that candidates get let's say pop-up where they get a mail, or sometimes a candidate say that they got a small pop-up saying that they had to connect their chargers, right? So in that case, that is not considered as a violation. They can immediately go and close the window, connect the charger. They can come back within 5 seconds. We don't even consider that as a violation. Like I mentioned that last year, the candidate, if goes beyond of for if the candidate is outside the window before 5 seconds, we don't even consider the violation, and the pop-up is not displayed. So this is how the proctoring is very legit and very secure, strict, and very leisure at the same time. And regarding the flags here, it becomes easy when you have 100 plus candidates or more than 1,000 candidates in that time. How do you make that right decision, which one to pick? So filtering the flags with the right violation limit, with the tolerable limit, helps you out. 5 plus image violations, it's better to discard these reports. 2 to 5, you can consider it. And 0 to 2, they are not they are the right ones, they have not done any violation or cheating. So this really helps when there are 1,000+ candidates. Going ahead, proctoring checks. There are basic proctoring checks that are need to be required before a candidate starts a test or even during the test. Before the candidate starts, we recommend a customizable invitation template which highlights the webcam requirements and microphone requirements so that candidates are well prepared. We do not know from where and how the candidates might come from, right? The bandwidth, the connectivity, and also the webcam that should be mounted on the monitor, whether it's available with them or not. So it's always better to mention all of those points in the invitations sent out so they're well prepared. System check prior to the test for microphone and webcam is done before the test. So even though if the invitation, sometimes the recruiters miss out on giving those pointers in the invite, the system check is still done right before the test. So 2-3 minutes prior to the test, candidate can switch to another window or next monitor and connect. Browser check is also done for Chrome, Safari, and different Firefox versions. Face authentication to verify the same candidate throughout the test is done. At the start of the test, the candidate's face is captured, right? And proctoring compliant, the entire test is proctoring compliant with the privacy laws applicable. The test supports mobile test right now, just for Android. But when we say if any test is a proctored test, we know that it is going to be at a large length. It could be an hour test or more than an hour test. So it gets difficult to take a proctored test through a mobile. It's always better to move to a laptop or a desktop-based assessment, right? So we recommend that this proctored test be only taken through laptop or desktops. But also, yeah, it does support mobile. ATS LMS integration is also supported. So companies with integrations in the specific ATS system, this is no problem here. So these are the basic checks that iMocha does. And coming to the success story of a leading IT services company, this is a very proud moment for iMocha, and we uh, take immense pleasure in saying that this company previously had a challenge, a basic one that says that inability to assess remote candidates. We had this company with us for the last couple of years now, and we have seen a really amazing growth. Over the years, they created around 5 job roles, for more than 5 job roles also. But during the pandemic times, these job roles were created and we provided custom test with 80 questions created within 5 weeks for each test, with coding and MCQ questions involved. And up till now, there are 550 tests taken, 55,000 plus assessments conducted, all with AI proctoring enabled throughout remote locations, right? With high concurrency and auto scale servers. And it is also adaptable in low bandwidth. So our tests were adaptable in low bandwidth across these different remote locations. We did a successful attempt and completed 36,000 tests, right? As per the set parameters, there was real-time analytics done, quality images were captured, and with this um, points, the customer saw a 40% increase, a spike in productivity. So this was one of the proud stories for us. There are many such like this, but yeah, this was one of them. So ending with that, we are enterprise ready, completely scalable, and 20,000 plus assessments per day is the scale, right? We are compliant with ISO 27001, GDPR compliant, EOC and ATP guidelines are also in check. So with this, Neha, complete my session here, and I'm open for question and answers.
Thanks, Nidhi. So we can move on to answering questions now.
Yeah.
So Nidhi, Yatin has an interesting question. So can we choose the type of proctoring for each test, or is it set by default?
Yeah, we have proctoring which can be set for each test. Video proctoring and also image proctoring. It's up to the recruiters.
All right. Nishat has a question. Will the proctoring work on mobile and tabs?
Yep, it definitely works in mobile. However, we do recommend that you switch to desktop-based assessment or laptop-based assessment, because if the test is proctored, you know that it's going to be a lengthy test, and giving it through mobile might be it won't be a convenient process for the candidate. Just for a seamless experience, we recommend desktop. But to answer your question, yes, it is compatible on mobile and tablets.
All right. Dave has another question. Guys, we have Vishal also on the call. I think he can answer this question better. Vishal is the head of engineering at iMocha. Vishal, Dave has a question that is our AI-enabled proctoring secure?
Great question, Dev. So, Dev, I'll just take a step back, whether a platform is secured or not, right? So, because when you talk about the platform security, then we can come down to the AI proctoring security. So, our platform is completely hosted on Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure has its own compliances, be it ISO 27001, GDPR compliance, or any other compliance, SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. In addition to that, iMocha is also ISO 27000 compliance, GDPR compliance, and we are moving towards SOC 2 Type 2 compliance as well. We have encryption at rest. We use the transparent data encryption at rest. We use TLS 1.2. On the processes front, nothing moves out of the Azure infrastructure. Everything is secured under the Azure infrastructure. All the accesses to any images that have been captured or any videos that have been captured have a limited access only to those people who require to support that particular data in terms of any particular troubleshooting needs or something. So to answer going back to your question, yeah, of course, it's completely secured. There is no data leakage. The data does not go anywhere. The image stays on the secured infrastructure, so nothing goes out, and it's completely secure. I hope that answers.
Yeah, Vishal, that answers. Nithya, we have another question. So can you once again list down all the proctoring types that we have?
Yes. So we have different proctoring types like IP change log, right? And also,
Nidhi, if you can go back to that slide,
yeah,
that will be helpful. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So proctoring types, I can better say that face recognition, in that case, image proctoring, video proctoring, browser patrolling, which mentions the window violations if user is going outside the test window. So that is also captured. Copy paste locking is there. Nobody can copy and paste anything, right?
Yeah.
And IP change log. The IP addresses have changed. That is also logged.
Great. Nidhi, another question is like you spoke about the proctoring limits.
Yeah.
Right. So how do like recruiters or hiring managers can set the proctoring limits, and is there a industry defined threshold for it?
Okay. So there is not threshold defined in the industry as such, but we do recommend like 3 violations, up to 3 violation, giving that benefit of doubt to the candidates. But again, if the company wants to make the assessment any stricter, it's completely customizable. They can set it more than 3, up to 5, or even at 2 or 1. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Maybe a little different questions. One of the customer has asked that we are working on an in-environment calculator to help with the violations. So, any update on when we can add it?
Neha, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I guess I missed it.
Yeah. So Nidhi, there's a question from a customer saying that we are working on an in-environment calculator to help with the violations
Yeah,
and
right.
avail it on the platform. So just any timeline on when it will be added?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, we have seen that if a calculator is not provided, the user tries to do it on a pen and paper, and there's a violation detected, right? So, yep, it's in plan, and we plan to do it in the coming month.
All right. Another question is, what happens if the candidate loses internet connection in between while giving the test?
Yeah. So if the candidate, in case loses connectivity, the user candidate can always rejoin, right, with the same link, and the data up till that point is saved. All the images are, and also the answers are saved.
All right. Great. So Nidhi, coming back to another question. Between two captured images, what is the time gap that we have?
Oh, right. Good question. So we have a time gap of 20 to 40 seconds, which is the interim time, or we can say it is taken in random intervals of 20 to 40 seconds. And why 20 to 40 seconds? I would say that going through the immense data that we have seen so far, this is the ideal time. And before 20 seconds, even though the user tries to go out and maybe make any violation or cheat, it will still take more than 10 seconds for the candidate to do any cheating within that time. So 20 to 40 seconds is the interval in which we take images
All right.
throughout the test. Yeah.
Great. Another question is, who all can access the candidate reports?
Okay. So only the company users, the recruiters, or any other stakeholders who are registered with iMocha are the only ones who get to access the reports. And no report goes out of the iMocha software which has violations or images involved.
Okay. Great. Vishal, I guess another question for you. So what is the face recognition technology that we use?
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot divulge too much of things because it's a proctoring. So
Okay.
we are using the best of the face recognition AI-based models.
Okay.
Okay. On top of that, ideally, yeah, I'm not comfortable to answer much more than that.
Sure. No issues, Vishal.
The reason is simple, Neha. I would like to keep this simple because once the technology is exposed, we all know that uh, there can be attempts
Yeah.
to tweak it, to hack it, kind of thing. So that's the reason that I'm not exposing those facts.
Perfectly fine, Vishal. I guess that is the best answer.
Yeah.
All right. Niti, going back to you, we have one of the question as, are the candidates alerted for violations? Like, do we have any warnings before terminating the test?
Yes. So with the I can just go back on your, yeah, the warning a pop-up you see here. So every time a candidate does any kind of violation, whether it is face detected violation like multiple faces or unrecognized face, or if the candidate tries to go out of the window, every time he does any kind of violation, a pop-up is displayed saying that it might get terminated. And if there is a limit involved here, so it will definitely, the assessment will get terminated in 2 to 3 warnings as per the set limit.
All right, great. So Nidhi, one question is, will our proctoring solution even work in low bandwidths? Since many of the candidates are giving assessment from their homes, like, is it a prerequisite that they have high-speed internet?
I guess we do say that it's very much adaptable in low bandwidth, but I guess Vishal can answer a more specific bandwidth question.
Yeah,
Vishal?
yeah. So yeah, it does work on low bandwidth as well, because the images that we capture are not high resolution, mainly to cater to candidates who are in low network zones. We have test takers from developing countries also, where the internet bandwidth is very limited, and to make sure that they successfully can take a test, we capture the images at a low resolution.
Okay. So Nidhi, another question is, do we like have a separate pricing for proctoring?
So our basic pricing here involves the cheating, all of these types, but only the video proctoring, I would say, might involve a higher pricing range, but you can definitely go through the pricing page on our website to know more.
Okay. So for video proctoring, is that like a live thing, or is it a recorded one?
Yeah, it's a recorded proctoring. The users can come back to the report and go through the uh, video, and there's no manual intervention required here.
Okay. Another question is, we have window violation as a proctoring mechanism. So do we also register any websites that the candidates are trying to access?
iMocha here only detects the violations done every time the candidate goes out, but no, we do not capture the candidate screen.
Sure. All right.
I think Neha, Allah has a question related to coding the answer sheets,
Yeah.
but it's not clear to me. So maybe if Allah can reach out to us separately, we can go into more depth and answer her back.
Not a problem. We shall reach out to her separately and get the correct question from her.
Yeah.
Okay. Nidhi, so that's it. Like, we have come to the end of our questions. These were all the questions that were asked.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your time.
All right. So that's all from us, guys. We'll be sending the recording and the collaterals to you soon. So we hope this session was insightful. And if you have any queries, you can reach out to Nidhi or me. So we'll share our emails in the recording email as well. And from all of us at iMocha, we thank you for attending the webinar. Have a great time ahead. Bye.